Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, the 29th of August, 2025. My name is Graham Hughes. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. And we have lots of friends in the chat already. We've got Chris C in there. We've got Diz. We've got Philip. We've got Martin. We've got Veg Pie. We've got Elle in the chat there. We've got Saz and Kieran Cross. And we've got Gallifrey and Ren. Hello, one, and hello, all. If you'd like to join our beautiful friends in our beautiful chat over here, all you need to do is hit that beautiful subscribe button. If I can find it, there it is. And wait for 1 minute, and then you should be able to subscribe to the channel. Listen, if anyone's having trouble getting on here, I know that Aid was having trouble yesterday being in the chat. Just send me a message. If you go to grahamdavidhughes.com, you can send me a message saying, Oi, I can't write anything. What's going on? And I'll try and sort it out for you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the war on trans people and refugees, all part of the same plan as far as I am concerned. They are being used as a Trojan horse to kill democracy. This is the plan. This is the plan happening in plain sight, and we can see it on both sides of the Atlantic. We can see it in countries all over the world, not just in the UK. Billions being wasted, billions with a B, being wasted on hate instead of solving real problems like the backlog of patients in the NHS, the housing shortage, the cost of living, the education crisis where 1 in 3 pupils are failing their GCSEs because the schools are failing them, because we only look after the posh kids, we only look after the rich kids, everyone else, nah, they can just piss off. Instead of spending money on sorting those problems out, how about our infrastructure, our crumbling infrastructure? Because we've got thousands of bridges and roads and tunnels and viaducts that are crumbling apart because they were built in the 1960s when we seem to have forgotten how to build shit. We build everything out of the solidified slop that is concrete, reinforced concrete. So we put some metal bars in the middle of it and said, oh, it's all right. They won't rust. They'll never rust. But you see, the vibration of vehicles going over a bridge for 60 years tends to make things sort of break away. You know, if you've made some solidified slop turn into sort of this sort of proto-rock substance that's kind of like sandstone, but not as good as sandstone in strange ways. Yeah, so imagine it just sort of, vibrate and bits fall off and then, oh, what's that? Is the rebar being exposed to the elements? Is the rebar expanding? Because that's what it does when it oxidizes, when it rusts. Is that what happens? Is that why all our infrastructure needs fucking replacing after 60 fucking years? Meanwhile, the bridge that you can walk over going into Durham city centre is like 900 years old. Still up. Still works. 900 years old. Cool. But, 60 years, that's a lot. No, we could be fixing all that, but no, we're not. We're not. Governments and regulators are spending vast resources instead on stripping away the rights of trans people and vilifying asylum seekers. Great. Money well spent, dickheads. The ECHR, run by the vile transphobe Baroness Faulkner, Baroness Fucknuts, they've sent letters to the NHS, the police, education bodies, talking about single-sex spaces being weaponized as a wedge issue. Meanwhile, refugees are being framed as an invasion, even though we have fewer refugees than most countries in Europe. And also, the refugees are not the majority of people coming over here from other countries. In fact, they're just 4%. The way Nigel Farage talks about it, you would think, and a lot of people do think, because they don't do any research into this, they'll think that the vast majority of people coming to this country are coming on small boats. They think that over 50% of the people coming to this country are coming on small boats. The reality is, it's 4%. 96% come here on a visa issued by the British government. Why is immigration from Southeast Asia, from South Asia, from Africa, why is it skyrocketed? Well, I'll tell you why it's rocketed. Because people aren't coming over from the EU anymore. Because they have to, apply. But there's 27 other countries in Europe that they don't need to apply to get into. So why would they? Why would they come here? So they're not coming here, but we still need people to fill the job vacancies in care and in hospitality and in other jobs. And it's not a case of British people not wanting to do the jobs. That's not necessarily the case. It's more the case of that there just aren't enough British people to do the jobs. And yeah, the war on trans people, the war on refugees is very much linked because the money for all this fucking war is coming from the same small group of Nazis who want to take away everybody's rights, who want us to live under an authoritarian, totalitarian dictatorship that decides what you're allowed to be, who you're allowed to be, what you're allowed to call yourself, who you're allowed to marry, what positions you're allowed to use when you fuck. This is the future that they want. This is the future that the Conservatives, that the refuckers, the Nazis, this is the future they want. Totalitarian control over your life. And all of this is building as justification for leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. The ECHR. This is the end game. This is the goal. They've already pulled us out the EU. Now they want to pull us out of the ECHR. This isn't about toilets. This isn't really about boats. It is about dismantling democracy. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Rights are universal. You take them from one group and you set a precedent for taking them from everybody else. Just as Brexit was much more about than just leaving the EU. This is more than trans issues or small boats. So let's have a look at what the EHRC, the Equalities and Human Rights Commissions. I can't get them mixed up with the ECHR. But yeah, the EHRC. They in May 2012 they called for inputs and they found 404 examples of what they call misrepresentations of the Equality Act. Now 19 organisations have been told to change policies, including the NHS and schools and the police. And the framing of this is self-ID is not the law. So the people using the toilets that they feel comfortable using and then the toilets that they're least likely to be assaulted in, it doesn't come into it. The rights of people to use the toilet, which they feel comfortable to use, it doesn't come into it. Now, I, as a cisgender man, wouldn't be comfortable going into a women's toilets. I just wouldn't be. But if I was a trans woman, I wouldn't feel safe going into the men's toilets. I would not feel comfortable with that at all. So what's the ruling here? What are we going to do? Have fucking bathroom monitors? We're going to have J.K. Rowling sitting like a little lizard lady outside the bogs, feeling up the little boys and girls coming to the toilet for a piss to make sure that they've got the right fucking genitals to use the toilets. The toilets are unisex unless it's a urinal. Fucking... I mean, the implications of this are just insane, but they're not doing it because they necessarily, have a problem with trans people. That's the mad thing. I mean, I think J.K. Rowling does, but the politicians who are backing this are just backing it because they want us out of the European Convention on Human Rights. That's it, But in practice, trans women are being placed on male wards or refuse treatment in hospital. It's like go on the male ward or don't get any treatment at all. Go on the male ward or die. That's what the Equalities and Human Rights Commission's advice is. Equalities and human rights. Put the woman in charge is she's a private school mafia, isn't she? Isn't she? I do believe. We can check on that. Schools are barred from inclusion policies that affirm trans pupils, and police are forced to treat suspects or detainees as their birth sex, and people to be referred to in court as their birth sex, even though they're clearly not. This is Kishwa Faulkner claims this is proportionate. This is a step towards a holocaust of trans people. Do you know what I mean? This is like making Jewish people in the 1930s wear a fucking star, or gay people made to wear a pink star. Didn't they have to wear a pink star if you were gay? So they knew who to throw into the camps? Yeah. In reality, this is a total fucking overreach. It is, reducing equality law to biological essentialism. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is absolutely abhorrent on every fucking level. And the Supreme Court ruling on this for the 4 Women Scotland, funded by XY Rowling, the fucking clocky motherfucker, who's so ugly. She just looked in the mirror one day and she was horrified by what was looking back at her. And so she turned her fucking ire onto trans people. She was like, oh, because someone said to her, and I'm convinced of this, there's only two types of people who become massive, rabid transphobes. One is the type like Elon Musk, where one of their kids turns out trans, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is undermined my masculinity." The same fucking mad, twatty reaction that you got when you came out to your parents in the 1970s, 80s. When people were like, "Oh, get out my house! I'm never speaking to you again." So many kids in homeless in London in the 1980s and 90s were there because they were thrown out of their house for being gay. And this is the world that these clocky motherfuckers like XY Rowling want to fucking create. She hated what she saw in the mirror, and she went, I'm gonna go after trans people now, because the other reason why people become massive transphobes is that someone has said to her, "Are you trans?" And considering she writes with a male name, Robert Galbraith, and she's clocky as fuck, it's a valid question, and something that I don't think that anyone should really take offense at. But she did. She clearly did. She was like, "Oh, well, the only way I'm going to get out of this one is if I eradicate all trans people from existence." What a mad little fucker. What a horrible little fucking toad. What a piece of shit. I mean, like, she's the richest author in the world, isn't she? Isn't she? Was that Clive Cussler? I don't know. But, like, she's just horrible. She's just, like, the horriblest person. And she's not even just transphobic anymore. She's moved on to proper misogyny. She's moved on to proper fucking racism. Accusing black women of not being women. I'm okay. Oh, my God. Black women from a country where if you're trans, you can be put in jail or worse. She doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't give a fuck about women's rights. She doesn't give a fuck about protecting women. She just wants to be horrible to trans people, because that's what gets her off these days. It's the only thing that gets her off, the sick little fuck. Anyway, this ridiculous fucking court case paid for by XY Rowling. 4 Women Scotland defined sex, the 4 Women Scotland case defined sex as biological sex, and this has been used used, as many people watching this know, as an excuse for a crackdown. A crackdown on what? A crackdown on trans people existing. Not trans people committing crime. And you know what? If a trans person commits a crime, they should be given just as horrible a jail sentence as everybody else. You know, they should have the full force of the law thrown against them, as anyone should, except obviously the rich, because they get away with fucking murder, don't they? But this instead, it's been used as a crackdown on the existence of trans people. But the reason why the oligarchs of the world have come together in 2015 and went, let's go after the trans people, because they have a roadmap. It's like Project 2025. There is an equivalent to that in Europe, in Britain. And it is like, we need to get Britain out of the EU. We need to get Britain out of the European Commission on Human Rights. And Convention of Human Rights. On human rights. Fuck me. Right, I'm going to go to the chat before I fuck this up anymore. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That's very kind of you. The BMA had this right. Biological nonsense and scientific illiteracy. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's like a primary school science lesson being used for the foundation of our human rights law in this country. Our equality laws being based on what a fucking 8-year-old understands of biology and sex. Like, and a particularly dim 8-year-old, by the way, not like some prodigy. I'm talking about someone who's, still eating the fucking glue, like Donald Trump, He's still eating the fucking Trump. He's still eating the fucking glue at 80. So yeah, this is clearly a strategy to get us out of the European Convention on Human Rights, because they're going to say, oh, this foreign court, the Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, is overriding, and it will. It's overriding what our Supreme Court wants to do. This foreign court is telling us what to do. And, this is why we have to zoom out and see the bigger picture here. This isn't just an attack, which it is, but it's not just an attack on trans people. It's not just an attack on asylum seekers. It's an attack, a concerted attack by millionaire tech bros and Russian oligarchs on our rights. All of our rights. All of our rights. Everyone who's not a fucking tech bro, oligarch, fucking billionaire is going to be fucked by this. Nigel Farage is going to be rewarded very well by his handlers in the fucking Kremlin. Ask him where the pilot went. What happened to the pilot, Nigel? Why does no one ever ask him about the fucking pilot who died? Because, this guy, Farage, is a multi-millionaire. Therapy is expensive for us normal people, but for most millionaires, like the fucking Nigel Farage piece of shit, he could afford that. He could afford a bit of therapy for his mate who crashed the fucking plane, who managed to actually save Farage's life after the stupid fucking bit of cloth at the back of the plane got wrapped up in the tail fin saying, you vote fucking UKIP, right? That stupid fucking banner that Nigel Farage wanted, and he wanted to go out on the plane because he's the big fucking man I am. He's got the brains of a fucking 8-year-old. I'm going to go on a plane. It's going to be an amazing journey. He's like up there in this prop plane going, oh my God, this isn't like my jet. This isn't like my normal jet. But he could have definitely paid for the mental health services that the pilot of that plane required for his clear PTSD after the crash, and the fact that his company went under because he couldn't fly during the investigation into the crash. I mean, what was the investigation? I mean, I'll sort that out for you, mate. The fucking banner got wrapped up in the fucking tail of the plane. There you go. That's what happened. And the guy managed to make a successful crash landing in which both passengers, both the pilot and the passenger, Farage, both survived the crash. The guy should be given a fucking medal. Well, actually, he shouldn't. Anyway, but yeah, this is bigger than trans rights. This is this is about creating a confrontation with the ECHR. And this is typical scapegoating strategy. Trans people represent less than 1% of the population. Politically weak, easily misrepresented. People talk about like the trans agenda, and I'm like, what trans? There's hardly any trans people. What are you on about? They're a minority of a minority. What the fuck? Yeah, they're everywhere, these trans people, running all the... Okay, so name some trans people in Parliament. Oh, none? Okay, name some trans people who are like, top of the making, big decisions, CEOs, trans people. Are there many of them? Not really, no, okay. Well, what about, people in the public eye? I mean, are there many trans people in the public eye? No, Susie Izzard. Not many people. A handful of people. And yet they are being attacked by the majority because that's where the money's gone. The billionaires have put their billions into swelling up hatred towards trans people for existing. Classic authoritarian playbook. Pick a vulnerable group, then expand the attack to others as necessary. And years of parliamentary debates, inquiries, endless newspaper coverage. I've said this before. You go back to some people that are transphobic now. So, when people leave comments in your posts on Facebook or whatever, and they're a massive transphobe, before you block them, right? Before you block those motherfuckers, have a look back through their timeline. Right? I know it's a bit of scrolling, but have a look. See if they mention trans people before 2015. See if they even mention them at all, ever. Think they even thought of trans people who existed before 2015. What changed? What changed in 2015? Putin invaded Ukraine. He wanted Crimea. He was getting like massive big for his boots. He had interfered in the Scottish referendum in 2014. He was then interfering in the British election in 2015. He then would go on to interfere in the British referendum in 2016 on the membership of the EU. Putin pushing for Trump to become leader of America, and then Trump did exactly what Putin wanted him to do, which was to pick off vulnerable groups, immigrants, trans people, and go after them like a fucking Rottweiler, which Trump, obediently did. And here's the thing, the Tories up to a point were pretty good for trans rights. They were pretty good. They were heading towards, self-ID, not having to jump through so many hoops to get your gender recognition certificates, not to say that you've got some disorder in order to get it, which is ridiculous. Imagine if, to be gay in everyday life, you had to admit that there was something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with trans people. They don't have an illness. It's just that is the way they are. It's the way they are. It's not detrimental to their health. It is, unless they're forced to present in the wrong gender for the rest of their fucking lives by a society that would rather placate the billionaires who wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat because trans people exist, than to actually give trans people the rights and the dignity and the love that they deserve. So anyway, yeah, compare this, compare how much time and effort has been put. The newspaper columns talking about trans people, right? Demonizing, vilifying trans people. Compare that to, actual urgent crises like the NHS collapse, housing shortage, the fucking railways, schools crumbling, literally crumbling. There were more articles about hating on trans, right, than there are on the fact that there's a rack in schools and the schools are fucking falling down. And this disproportionate obsession, absolute obsession, is a deliberate strategy. And this has got a link to asylum seekers because both groups are presented as undeserving of rights. How dare they have a phone? How dare they have a recycled iPhone 5? Do you know what I mean? Like, this idea that both asylum seekers and trans people have an illegitimate presence in society. It's the same ghoulish motherfuckers putting this shit out there. The same people. And what they'll do is they will frame it as trans people and asylum seekers and Muslims and then Jews and then everybody else, gay people and then women and then just anyone they don't like the look of, socialists. They'll go after travellers soon. You mark my word, they will go after travellers soon because they'll be seen as threats to ordinary people. They'll find minorities and they'll just go after each one. Because they know two things. They know that people are easy to stir up, and they know that these are easy targets that can't really fight back. And like I say, the Conservatives were all right on trans issues until like Theresa May. She wanted to bring in new guidance, new laws to actually help trans people. And then the wheels on that came off when Boris Johnson got in, and then it was just a free-for-all. 2019, that's when J.K. Rowling accidentally forwarded a tweet by a transphobe, and then she went full fucking transphobic lunatic. And she did an essay in 2020 saying, I'm not a transphobe. I will stand arm in arm with my trans brothers and sisters to protect their rights. Yeah, where are you now, Joey? Hey, Joey, where are you now, dickhead? Where are you? Where are you? The trans people, they're under attack. By you daft twat. Fucking Joey, you twat. XY Rowling. Fucking clocky motherfucker. Let's do a transvestigation into Robert Galbraith, named after a surgeon, a certain doctor who was a bit big for what? What was that? What was that? Conversion therapy? Was it? Was that it? The one where you're made to be not gay. You pray the gay away. They give you pictures of a naked man on a fucking cross with his arms like this, so he can't like fight you off. Okay, that's gonna stop you being gay. All right, mate. Whatever. Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry, I'm sorry for swearing so much. I'm just so pissed off and tired, and I know a lot of people watching this are pissed off and tired of this shit as well. But the fact that J.K. Rowling thinks that she's the good guy. Fucking good guy, yeah. All right. So, yeah, like I said, this is bigger than trans rights. This is bigger than asylum seekers' rights to claim asylum. This is about creating a confrontation with the ECHR. Once UK courts rule against the crackdown, government says, once the European Court of Human Rights rules against this crackdown on asylum seekers and trans people, the government and the opposition, because Labour have been fucking shit in this respect, will say, see, Europe is stopping us. A foreign court is stopping us. We're going to have to leave the ECHR. And you're seeing people like Jack Straw and Blunkett coming back and saying, oh, yeah, maybe we will have to leave it. Like, you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Now, here's a piece of irony. One of the first countries in the world to grant trans equality was South Africa under apartheid. Wow. That's fucking mad. That is absolutely fucking... Well, I mean, it's good that they did that. But bad that they did the whole apartheid thing at the same time. Sean says, I was upset at Pride events last few years. It's time to get militant. We can't relax. So people out there wish me harm. Being gay, we should be defending trans rights. I couldn't agree more, Sean. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, so like I said, this is about setting the public mood. It's about setting the public mood, setting a trap, big fucking trap, big bear trap for us to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. And once that goes, we ain't going to get those rights back, not for a long time. And that's not just rights for trans people to be them authentic selves. This is rights for everyone. This is rights to a family. This is rights to privacy. This is rights to fucking a job. Workers' rights are going to go. And you can say, well, Canada is not part of the ECHR. Australia is not part of the ECHR. They function as democracies. Yeah, but they've got their own fucking version of a Bill of Rights. We don't. And what does Farage want to do? He wants to take us out the ECHR and draft his own Bill of Rights. You know what's going to be in his fucking Bill of Rights? The rights of multimillionaires to have a fucking Coots bank account. Of course that's going to be the case. The frog-faced twat. Fucking horrible little shit. As long as me and my cigar-smoking, jet-setting friends, getting around on private jets and our super yachts, as long as we're looked after, I don't give a fuck about the little people. I went to a posh school, don't you know? Fucking horror show. Fucking... God, he looks like a battered scrotum, that fella, doesn't he? Fucking hell, he's so ugly. He's so fucking ugly. It's like he's fallen out the ugly tree, hit every fucking branch on the way down, landed hard on the ground, and then a gang of lads have come with and broken the sticks, broken the branches off the ugly tree and fucking beaten him with it. And he's come out and going, oh, got a pint. Twat. So yeah, Jack Straw's FT article, attacking the ECHR, and there was a Guardian editorial recently for framing this whole ECHR leaving idea as restoring sovereignty, but actually it's just undermining judicial independence, and it's got to undermine our rights. But don't forget, everybody who is telling you to leave the ECHR is rich. They're rich motherfuckers, and they just want a world in which the rich live in their own fucking bubbles, their tech bubbles in the sky, and everyone else lives a shit life. They want to separate us at birth from the haves and the have-nots. This is why they have private schools in this country, so that the posh, the rich, the millionaires, the billionaires, they do not mix with the rest of us. Because they don't want billionaires falling in love with people like us. They want them to just hang out with each other in their own little fucking bubble, in their own little clique. They don't want to have friends from the lower orders, us plebs. They don't want that, They want to fucking lord it over us. And these motherfuckers are so fucking privileged. And you know, as well as I do, that when you are used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. And God, are they fucking whinging now? Are they fucking whinging? Jesus, my car whine that much, I'll take it to the fucking garage. I might take it to the fucking scrapyard. It'll annoy me too much. That fucking whining sound. Constant fucking whining sound from the super rich. And we're never fucking happy. For fuck's sake, you got a super yacht. Go and have fun on your super yacht. Have sex. Do drugs. Drink yourself to death. I don't give a fuck. Go and have fun with your life. Instead of sitting there on Twitter at 4 a.m, wide awake. I don't like trans people. Fucking weirdos. Fucking weird. Who wakes up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night? Darling, did you have a nightmare? No! What is it? Trans people exist! Sorry, what? Trans people, they exist! You woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat because trans people exist. Yes, it's awful. It's so bad. Okay, do you know any trans people? Do you hang out with them? Have they been mean to you? No, don't know any of them. Okay. Seems like a weird thing to wake up in the middle of the night and scream, but here we are. Here we fucking are. And let's just talk for a moment about the consequences. The very real and deadly consequences of leaving the ECHR. Well, first of all, the Northern Ireland Good Friday Agreement will be blown up because it is very much embedded in the European Convention on Human Rights. You'll have to rewrite it. Nigel Farage thinks he's going to rewrite the Good Friday Agreement from the British point of view. This means that the UK-EU trade and cooperation deal would be jeopardised. It would end extradition agreements with the EU, so EU criminals could come over here and just stab a bunch of people, and we wouldn't be able to extradite them back to their home. For them to be put in jail there. No, we're going to have to pay for it. British taxpayer, we're going to have to pay to lock up foreign criminals who come here from other countries in Europe and commit crimes because we won't have any extradition agreements. And Britain will be in the glorious company of Russia and the Greek fascistic junta of the 1970s as the only states to exit. Cool. Groovy. Wow. That's quite some accolade, isn't it? You know, wow. You don't even be part of that. You don't be part of that fucking club. And what happened as a result of the Greek junta? The islands of Cyprus got ripped into as a direct result because the Turks were like, oh, fuck. Some fascists here in Athens. They're gearing up for a massacre, we reckon, in Cyprus, even though Cyprus is supposed to be an independent state, but whatever. Let's just interfere. Let's just interfere in someone else's state. Fuck me. Right, anyway, so, and then refugees. This is the parallel front, isn't it, with, to get us out of the European Convention on Human Rights. The Labour's one in, one out scheme, it's slightly more realistic or legalistic than the Tories' Rwanda plan, but it's still fucking bonkers. It's still like, fucking, how's that going to work? How is that going to work? It's pitched as sensible. It's actually a trap. And Farage is openly calling for an exit to the ECHR, calling it a day one priority. Kemi Badenoch is nodding towards the same. And the populist rhetoric will be unelected judges blocking the will of the people. Or, as I like to say, how about unelected, disgusting reptiles from the fucking Cretaceous period who grew up in Australia, who somehow have the power to make people, think hate the people that Murdoch wants us to hate. How about that for control over someone's fucking brain? Like mind control. Imagine he pulls a fucking lever and people are like, who shall I hate, Rupert? Tell me who to hate, Rupert. I don't know. I can't think for myself. I'm too fucking lazy. And there's too much fucking plastic and lead in me brain. I can't think for myself. Do my thinking for me, Rupert. Please, Rupert, tell me who to hate. Fucking wankers. Pitches are sensible. Pitches are sensible. Yeah, leaving the European Commission of Human... You know, like, are you fucking insane? Like, these Labour politicians are going, oh, yeah, we should leave. We should get rid of all these rights for workers. We should get rid of the... And then we got, like, the Refugee Convention from 1951 and 1967, also under attack. And the key principle of those agreements that we went into openly, you know, with other countries, was non-refoulement, which means we don't send people back into danger. That is the rule. We do not send people back into danger. So if you had someone who had fled the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and we were going to send them into Rwanda when they had fled the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to get away from the Rwandan troops who were there around Goma in the Eastern DRC, who were murdering innocent people, murdering civilians. If you ran away from that, the government trying to send you to Rwanda is a clear violation. A clear violation of the Refugee Convention that we signed up to, international law. And yeah, and the UK is considering leaving, by the looks of things, the Refugee Convention as well. And then we have these parallel narratives of trans people stealing women's rights. Trans people's existence erases women, apparently. And refugees apparently are stealing your benefits and your homes and your jobs and your NHS spaces. Both narratives lead to a dismantling of universal rights for everyone. This doesn't end with, you know, like once they've imprisoned everyone for looking foreign or trans, right? Because you're going to get people who aren't trans, who look like they might be, look a bit clocky, you know what I mean? And they're going to be affected by this as well. And when you hear of butch lesbians who support the transphobia, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you mad? you know this is going to backfire really badly on you, don't you? Don't you? I mean, don't you? You're giving the right to any old fucking Karen in a toilet to scream at someone who doesn't look sufficiently Western fucking beauty standard enough. What a fucking nonsense. And this is, the authoritarian pattern, isn't it? Trump's America has banned trans healthcare, the Muslim ban coming into the country. He wanted to ban all Muslims coming into the country, didn't he? The mass deportations. Hungary and Poland under when the piss party was in Poland, the attacks on LGBT QIA plus rights and refugees rights was simultaneous. It was an attack on the queer community, an attack on the refugee community at the same time. And yeah, fascist regimes of the early 20th century, scapegoats first, everyone else next. Get the scapegoats out the way, and then you can go and kill again. It's what Stalin did. It's what Hitler did. It's what Franco did. It's what Mussolini did. It's what Salazar did. You're not waking up to the fucking reality, and this is what they do. There is a handbook. There is a handbook for doing this. It's called a history book, and it tells you exactly how to do this kind of shit. And the billionaires, the millionaires, these gruesome fucking vampires are sitting there going, hee, let's create anarchy. When they could just be having fun. They could be skydiving. They could be going scuba diving. They could be muff diving. They could be stage diving. They could be doing whatever the fuck they want with their money. But instead, they are demonizing and demoralizing an entire section of society in order to enslave everyone who wasn't born with a silver spoon up their arse. Because that's what they want. They want to enslave us. And this is how they do it. And I wish people would fucking wake up to the reality of what is being done to us. How we're being manipulated. Maybe some people like being manipulated. Maybe that's their kink. I'm not here to kink shame. But it's worth pointing out. It's worth saying, hey, you do know you're being manipulated. And if they're, having a wank and grinning wildly at the time that you're telling them this, and you go, okay, well, you seem to enjoy that, you fucking massive weirdo. But the rest of us, I don't like it. I don't like being manipulated. That's why I do these shows, because I like to think for myself. Thank you very much. I like to look at something that's happened and draw my own fucking conclusions. I don't just go, hey, Rupert, tell me what to think, Uncle Rupert. Don't ask me. I'm just the pleb. Thinking makes my head hurt. Fucking. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. And the UK's drift towards fascism is clear to see. Brexit, the Rwanda scheme, the EHRC crackdown on trans people, the idea that we're going to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. This is a step-by-step normalization of authoritarianism. And it starts in a women's bathroom, in a cubicle, where someone's having a piss in their own space, not looking over the top, not putting a camera underneath the fucking the partition, just having a piss. Literally, a trans woman having a piss. And that is the downfall. That means the downfall of civilization, right? Because we can't allow that. Trans women in public, going to a public toilet in public and going into a cubicle, closing the cubicle door and having a piss. How fucking dare they? I mean, isn't that mad? At least when you sort of think about the arguments against refugees, even though they don't make much sense, you can say, oh, well, they're taking our money because we're having to pay for their fucking hotels, aren't we? Because of the stupid Tory rules that say that asylum seekers can't work and we have to put them up in their mates' hotels so their mates can make billions out of the British taxpayer. Thank you very much, Tory fucking scum, corrupt motherfuckers. But yeah, aside from that, you can see why people get riled up about it. Oh, these foreigners coming over here, they're taking up all our spaces in our schools, they're taking up all our places in the NHS, they're taking up the street space. I'm in the traffic jam because of all these foreigners. You can see that. Okay, I know if you squint and it's gruesome and it's cruel and it's stupid and it's xenophobic, it's racist. Yeah, I get all that, right? But you can see it, right? You can see that argument. But for trans people, it is just like literally they're having a piss. Okay. Is that costing me anything? No. Are they in front of me in the queue to see a doctor? No. Are they taking all the school places? No. Fuck me. Okay. So what's the problem? They're pissing in the wrong toilet. They're pissing in the wrong place. Okay. All right, mate. All right. Fucking hell. Chrissy, thank you very much. They won't stop at the LGBTQ plus community. They will target non-whites, the mentally ill, the disabled, and cis women. Wake up UK. This is 1930s Germany. Exactly, Chrissy. Couldn't agree more, mate. Thank you for the super chat. You are absolutely right. They do not stop because these are rich people who should have enough to have fun for their short time that they're on this planet. If they are 50 years old, they'll be lucky to live another 20, 25 years, maybe 30 years. That's not a long time. That is not a long time. And instead of using their vast fortunes to have fun, to just have fun at no one else's, the detriment of nobody. Not causing pain or distress or discomfort or disease or death on anyone else. In fact, they're helping the local economy of wherever they're having their party. As long as they clean up their shit afterwards. Or pay someone to clean up their shit afterwards. There you go. Let the money swirl around. Let it slosh around in the local economy of wherever the fuck you are while you're having your fucking party on a beach somewhere with a barbecue. Fine. Do that. That's fine. Have fun. But that's not enough for them. Buying all these fucking expensive paintings, as an investment, or the global investments, these amazing paintings that some artist has poured their soul into, and they're sitting in a fucking basement somewhere of some billionaire's fucking mansion because you don't want the public to see it. It's my painting. I don't want anyone to see it. They're waiting for 17 years until the price doubles and then they'll sell it. I don't give a fuck. But all that artwork doesn't make them happy. People having a menagerie of fucking animals like that mad bastard in India, the billionaire in India who's got 700 tigers, was it? 700 lions in his fucking private zoo that he doesn't let anyone else see. That's not enough. That's not enough. None of that's enough for these motherfuckers. They will never have enough. And when you say, okay, well, they turn on to, because they can't fulfill themselves with materialistic things, or, I don't know, friendship, parties, nice times, that they can't fulfill themselves with that way, or even sex. They can't fulfill themselves that way. Okay, cool. What do you want to do? Well, I was thinking of taking people's rights away. But just for this one small group, it'll never be enough for these people. If there is a minority of people that we need to declare war on, it is the billionaires. It is the fucking billionaires. That is it. They are the people who we should be going after, who we should be demonizing. Because nearly all of them, for whatever fucking reason, I do not know, choose not to lead a life of, Riley. Life of Riley. They don't want that. They want to be horrible to trans people. They want to try and strip the rights of everybody else. Well, they, like the Farages of this world, I know he's not a billionaire, but he's a multi-millionaire. The Farages of this world are not affected by them stripping the rights away from us. They are not affected by that. They stripped our rights, my birthright as a citizen of Europe. A citizen of Europe. My birthright was taken from me by a gruesome, scrotum-faced multi-millionaire, Nigel Farage with his Coots bank accounts, laughing with his fucking cigar and his pint of lager, and his disgusting, massive fucking disgusting mouth. Going, right? My right's taken away. My right to live and work anywhere I want in Europe. In my own continent. That was taken from me. Not taken from him. Not fucking taken from him. And so I have to not use my old passports. These are no good anymore. Oh, sorry, that's the one I can use now. I can use my black one. All of these, fucking pointless now. All say European. This one's really old. This says European Community on the top of it. But yeah, all gone now. European Union passports, all fucking gone. All I've got left now is this fucking piece of shit, which doesn't even look good inside. It's just fucking shite. Cheaply made bollocks. But Farage has the money to live and work, not just anywhere in Europe, but anywhere in the world. He has the money to do so. He took that right from you and me. He did not take it from himself. He did not take it from his own children. He took it from your children, not his. The fucking piece of shit. I hate that man beyond all fucking reasoning. When his big beautiful day comes, I'm gonna fucking set up a Dance Revolution mat and hook it up to a PS5 on his fucking grave. We can all go now. It's gonna be fucking boss. Let's listen to some fucking K-pop. This isn't just about clarifying the law, they say. No. It's about rewriting lived equality. It's about taking people's rights from them. Not granting people more rights. Not granting people more help and dignity in their life. No. It is regressing back to the fucking 1930s. And then they'll say, oh, most people support this. Yeah. Manufactured consent via media obsession owned by the billionaires, owned by the Rothermeres, owned by the fucking Murdochs and the Barclays, the gruesome billionaires of the fucking universe. It protects women. It protects sovereignty. It protects borders. In reality, it dismantles protections for everyone. Everyone! Women lose inclusive services, sovereignty shifts from people to the executive, and borders are weaponized against humanity. That's the real reality. That's the future that these gruesome motherfuckers and their handlers want. This is not about special rights. This is about universal rights. If they can strip rights from trans people, they can strip them from anyone and everyone. And the European Convention on Human Rights is a safeguard. It protects privacy, free speech, fair trial, right to life. Lose it, and you lose protections, even if you're not trans, even if you're not a refugee. You will lose your protections under the law. And when you get a tap on your shoulder because you've written something on the internet that the powers that be don't like, and I'm not talking about inciting violence, which is something that I think people should be pulled up on. Now, this Lucy Connolly woman is being paraded as some kind of like martyr to what? Freedom of speech. She pled guilty in a court of law. She pled guilty to a law that was brought in not by Starmer, not by fucking Rishi Sunak, my friends, not by Liz Truss, not by Boris Johnson, not by Theresa May, not by David Cameron, or Gordon Brown, or Tony Blair, or John fucking Major. No, my friends, the law at which Lucy Connolly was not found guilty. You got to understand this. She wasn't found guilty of this law. She pled guilty of breaking this law from the 1980s, from the days of Margaret Thatcher. She broke Thatcher's fucking law. And now she's being paraded around saying, look, I was Starmer's hostage, I was. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself forever. You lying pieces of shit. She pled guilty to a crime that's been on the statute books for over 40 fucking years. Jesus Christ. Nearly 40 years, I should say. Sky Dragon 54321. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat. And I like the fact I could go 54321 and then press the super chat button. That was quite cool. I'm post off M2F, 10 years, scared to stay in the UK now. I'm sorry to hear that, Sky Dragon, and I'm really... It's horrible. It's fucking horrible. I want to say some comforting words here. The one good thing that has come from all this manufactured hatred towards you, towards trans people in general, is that I'm seeing more people, more cisgender people, more gay people standing up as well, standing up and saying, this is wrong. This is wrong. Stop attacking trans people. Stop it. Stop your mad obsession against trans people. And you're seeing people who never really seem to have an opinion on the matter actually speaking out about it now, more so than ever before. So that's good. It's not enough. I agree. It's not enough. And we have friends who are making plans to leave this country for the same reason as Sky Dragon there. Go to Ireland. If you can, go to Ireland, and you don't need an Irish passport. Know this, you can go and live in Ireland. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. You can live in Ireland, and if you live there for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship. And if you get that Irish citizenship, you will be part of the European Union, and you can either stay in Ireland or you can go anywhere in Europe, except for this shithole here. This racist, transphobic, bigoted, outrageously stupid shithole. The only country in the world that ever voted to freely impose economic sanctions on itself because we were told to by a reptile from Australia for who was born a million years ago. A million years ago, 12,000 miles away. And yet here's Murdoch's control over the imagination of this country is sickening. It's absolutely sickening. Yeah. And yeah, this is the cost of hate. When the powerful obsess over persecuting tiny minorities, the country is falling apart. And this is not fringe. This is government policy. Labour MP, well, at least one Labour MP who's current has said this, and now we've got Jack Straw and David Blunkett who have also said it. We've got Tories saying it. We've got fuckers saying it, saying that we need to remove rights from the people of this country in order to stop trans people and refugees from what? From existing. because they always will. And you know as well as I do that as time goes on, there are going to be more people coming from other countries because of climate change. The climate change that we are accelerating by not getting to net zero fast enough, by not leading the world when we could for the green energy transition. That's what we should be doing. But instead, we're obsessing over where trans people can go for a piss. I mean, it's so pathetic. It's beyond parody. In America, they obsess over a woman who came fifth in a regional swimming competition, and she had to share, because she came in at the same time as a trans woman, she had to share her participation certificate or something. She's never got over it. Maybe you could be a better swimmer. There were 4 women who were cis women who were faster. But yeah, I'm sure being trans gave that one swimmer so much of an advantage. That's why everyone's heard of her name. She's a household name now, isn't she? And then we got the transvestigation of Michelle Obama, of Venus and Serena Williams, of any black woman who doesn't look sufficiently, I don't know. I'm sorry, but I think Serena and Venus Williams and Michelle Obama are fucking gorgeous. I mean, I don't get it. I really just don't get it. But, you know, you scratch a transphobe, find a racist every fucking time because they're bigoted. They're little bigots. They're little fucking Karen-y bigots. That's what they are. So yeah, this is a wake-up call. You know, this isn't a fringe fucking bunch of nutters anymore. This is mainstream. The culture war is a distraction for power grabs and the dismantling of all of our rights. And my core message to you this morning, as many of you know, and I do feel like I'm preaching to the choir in some way, but I need to get this out. I need to just be able to say it out loud and just get it out of me. Fucking, you know, otherwise it'll burn inside me. We need to defend the right to the most vulnerable, because that's how we defend the rights of everyone. That's how we defend the rights of everyone. I can't remember who it was who said this. It might have been Voltaire, it might have been John Jack Rousseau. I don't know who said it, but they said, you know, if you want to have a look at like how progressive a country is, have a look at how they treat prisoners. It's quite an astute observation. See how they treat people who have got no rights. And that's where we are right now. We are treating people differently. Not because they've committed a crime, not because they've done anything wrong, but we're demonizing them, and trans people and asylum seekers are unfortunately at the sharp end of all this. And it's a disgrace, and we've got to keep calling it out. We've got to keep calling it out. And what little we can do, and I am going to go to the Labour Party conference, hopefully in a month's time, and I will be calling it out while I'm there. At every opportunity, I'll be going to as many talks as I can, and standing up and making this point. They're doing Nigel Farage's dirty work for him. Why are they cleaning his shitty fucking underwear? Why are they doing this? Why are they going for this? Do they want a quiet life? As even Phil Morehouse will fucking attest. This is not a vote winner for Labour. It's just a vote loser to pick on trans people. Because the people who pick on trans people are never going to vote for Labour. They just don't give a fuck. They're going to vote for UKIP. Whatever UKIP's calling itself these days. Fucking Nazi party. Don't be dumb. Be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party. Joanna, okay, turns out Universal Credit did screw up. Just got a revised payment notification. They overpaid another £108. It's getting stupid. It's a mad system, isn't it? What the hell was the point of migrating from ESA, HB to Universal Credit if you're, in the end, you're still paid ESA and then UC to cover up HB? It's totally nuts. I'm being paid by 2 systems. I don't know. What the problem is that the people in charge don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they are doing. You know, the tech phobia of the leaders of this country, well, the MPs in this country is just it's shocking. Do you remember when there was the I don't know, was it like a cabinet meeting or something? Not a cabinet meeting. It would have been like a select committee, and I think they brought in like Google and Facebook and Twitter at the time representatives, And I'm sure it was a Tory MP. I mean, have I dreamt this? Did this actually happen? He said that he wanted to get the algorithms under control. You know, we really must do something about the algorithms. And you're just like, oh my God, you don't even get the basics. You don't. And for me, like, you know, I know that I'm probably smarter than the average bear, but like, this isn't complicated, is it? Is it complicated? I don't know. But like, to explain to someone what an algorithm is in terms of the way that they're used online, I mean, it doesn't take long, does it? Does it? I mean, even if someone's particularly stupid, it would only take about 10 minutes, I think. I don't know. I've never had to go around explaining that if you look at stuff online for, you know, you type something into Google, then it's going to go, oh, you like this stuff, I'm going to send you adverts for it. If you click on a video, it's going to go, okay, you like that kind of video, I'm going to send you more suggestions of videos like that video you just watched. While you're there, give us a like, give us a like, give us a like. Feed the algorithm. Feed it. Maybe they think of algorithms like an entity, because I do say feed the algorithm, don't I? When I suggest that you like this video. Mr. Tisk 27, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Unity is strength. More of us than them, we hope. Yes, Mr. Tisk. And also, there are more of us non-billionaires than there are of billionaires. There's a lot more non-multimillionaires than there are multimillionaires. And we need to show as often as possible that these motherfuckers are playing a lot of people like a cheap fucking fiddle in order to take away their rights. In order to take away their rights. And I'll tell you this now, whenever I have spoken to someone who voted for Brexit, right? And I've explained to them that they've taken the rights away from me and my stepkids to live and work anywhere in Europe, but they haven't taken that away from themselves, like Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, Richard Tice, Nigel Farage, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Andy Wigmore, Aaron Banks. They all have those rights still because they're all millionaires. They didn't take those rights away from themselves. You're not coming with us, Reg? Solidarity. Oh, yeah. Solidarity, Reg. Vendetta. No, YouTube will suggest every fucking video by someone whose video you just watched. Yeah, I just watched one. I didn't say the algorithm was smart. You just quoted Tony Benn. Was I? Well, I hope that wasn't about the algorithm. I don't think it was. I don't think he was with us at that point. He's heard a word and he thinks he's using it to make him sound clever. Yeah. Anuska says, this is why we need UBI now. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree. Everywhere that UBI has been tested, it has had positive outcomes. Plum Duff, have a great day, people. I'm off to my orgy tent. Just sent an invite to Theresa Coffey and Anne Widdecombe. See what happens. Oh, Plum Duff. I've not had breakfast, but I mean, if I had, I'd be fucking technical and yawning all over my fucking desk here. Should we have a look at the papers? The same picture of Angela Rayner that was on the front cover of the Mail, I think, yesterday is now on the front cover of the Daily Telegraph. Nice and grainy picture of her. Angela Rayner, the housing secretary, pictures in Hove over the weekend where she has just bought a flat. Looks a bit flooded in their flat. Rayner dodges £40,000 stamp duty. Deputy PM reduces house bill for Hove flat by declaring it as her main residence. Okay. You know what? I think stamp duty is a bit of a weird one anyway. I think you should have to pay tax when you sell your house. Especially if you just sat there for the last, 40 years watching the fucking bricks and mortar accrue in value. And you bought it for £2.50 in 1981 and now it's worth £2 million. And you're like, whoa, that's good. And you get to sell that tax-free. But anyone who wants to start buying houses or anyone wants to downsize or whatever, they've got to pay 20 grand up front, which you can't add onto your mortgage. Stamp duty is a very fucking strange fucking tax. And obviously set up by rich people to further their own ends. But, whatever. It's an excuse to put a picture of Angela Rayner up and say, oh, isn't she dreadful? Isn't she dreadful? Isn't she a hypocrite for having a second home in Hove? When the reality is that, that's what the Tories do all the time. I think, how many homes has Rishi Sunak got? 7? Is it 7? Yeah, but that's okay because he's rich. He's not a working class ginger from up top north. Putin strike on British building puts Ukraine peace talks at risk. What? Are you surprised? Putin puts peace talks at risk by what? Bombing the shit out of fucking Kyiv and killing 21 people? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fucking gobshite. Asylum seekers' rights trump the people of Epping, says Cooper. Asylum seekers' rights are more important than the concerns of the people of Epping. That's not what she said. That's not what she said. But yeah, the concerns of the people of Epping are important, but also it's important not to just have asylum seekers with nowhere to live or living on the streets. I think anyone wants that. Do you want that? Do the racists want that? What do they want? These people are going through the process that was set up by the Tories. And also Tony Blair. They can't work. Let them work. Let them work. Put a processing centre in Calais and have a right of return with France agreements that we, if anyone comes across on a boat, we send them back over to France. Simple as that. Number 10, cruel over treatment of AIDS. Oh God, that's a difficult word to say out loud, isn't it? So Keir Starmer is facing a backlash over the needlessly cruel way Downing Street handled the departure of a second senior female aide in less than a year. I didn't know Labour had advisors. They're flailing around at the moment like they don't have any, or any good ones. Pope blessed King and Queen despite divorce. That's nice of him, isn't it? It's always nice to be blessed by the Pope after you're a divorcee because, you're rich. My dad was a divorcee and he wasn't allowed to marry mum in the church. They had to have a blessing. They couldn't actually get married in the church. They had to go to a registry office to get married. Yeah. That's nice, isn't it? But the Pope, someone rich. Yeah, the Pope says that's all right. He's rich. Descendant of Henry VIII, kind of, because, there's been a couple of breaks in the marital line along the way. But, Henry VIII started his own faith, and the faith was I should be allowed to annul my marriages. To this woman that I was married to for 20 years. This marriage does not count. Why does it not count, Henry? Because she was betrothed to my brother. Was it Stephen? Henry's older brother who died. She was betrothed to him. No, they were children, and she was supposed to marry him when they grew up, but they never got married. I don't think, but whatever. Chickenpox jab to be rolled out on NHS. Really good news there for the UK. It will form part of a new combined MMRV, measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella vaccine. This will replace MMR, which is offered at 12 months and 18 months, which is great news that kids won't get chickenpox anymore. Which isn't as deadly as measles, but still needs to be protected against because there can be complications and children can die. And I don't like children dying needlessly in a fucking advanced civilization such as what we pretend we live in. It's one of those things I don't enjoy. I don't like that. Some people do. Some people think that children dying is what God intended or what nature wants. And kind of they're right in a way because God's a psycho and nature wants you dead. So... I can't blame them for their logic, but it's a bit psychopathic, don't you think, wanting children to be dead? Captain Coconut, the way a government treats refugees is very instructive because it shows how they would treat the rest of us if they could get away with it. Tony Benn. Yeah, great quote from Anthony Benn there, the former Labour MP. Former, I say he's dead now, so Liam Fairhurst says it burns my pisser how people jump down the throat to Labour, but don't say fuck all about 14 years of the Tories. Well, I say both. I do try and be an equal critic of both. But the Tories were worse. But not for trans rights until Theresa May got a marching orders, and 2019 was the year when the billionaires really decided they all met up. J.K. Rowling and Murdoch and Musk and all those fuckers. They all met up in a gruesome fucking basement of a volcano fortress or whatever the fuck they hang out. And they did their ceremony where they slaughtered a pig and doused themselves in the blood of the pig or whatever the fucked up shit they do. And they all decided to go after trans people. 2019, there was a meeting. There was a dark satanic ritual, I'm sure, which probably involved the sacrifice of a small child, because that's the kind of fuckers that these fuckers are. And yeah, they decided to go after trans people. Paula, thank you very much. What have you written here? When I volunteered at the local Citizens Advice Bureau, I had the other advisors had to explain the benefits law to benefits agency staff. It was incredible. Yeah. It's pretty complex. It's not very straightforward, is it? Liam says, I'm looking forward to the agenda today. That's my favourite part of the week. I'm a big Phil sympathiser because I think I think like he does, but I love how you both debate him. Much love. Well, yeah, if you do come along for the agenda later today, don't be horrible about me or Phil in the chat, because if you are, you just be, it's a. I might just agree this week on what we talk about, but if we don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything, it doesn't mean that it's a fight. It's a boxing match. It's not nothing of the sort. And I've got to say, Phil Morehouse is absolutely instrumental in setting up this channel. If it wasn't for Phil, and don't forget, he did the Morning Brew for the first year or so on this channel, more than a year. In fact, he was doing Morning Brews until. What was it? Last November. So for the first 18 months of this channel's existence, he was doing the Morning Brew for two mornings a week, and he's an absolute fucking legend, absolute fucking superstar. And it's not like we finish the show and then it's like we hang up on each other like, oh, fuck off. We have a natter about stuff. And I kind of like these conversations that we have, these debates that we have, because it is two people who absolutely want the same thing for Britain and the same thing for the people who live here. But we have different takes on probably getting to that point. But also, I like the fact that Phil tends to be more brains and I tend to be more heart in this, because I look at it in terms of emotion and how emotionally driven people are, and that's not necessarily what the data is going to tell you. The data told us that the referendum on Brexit, it would go easily to stay in the EU, 55% to 45%. It didn't. The polls said that Trump would not win in 2016. Absolutely not. I remember the 538 website saying it was 90% chance of Hillary Clinton winning. And she didn't. So yeah, and I do see like Phil's point that the election's not going to be for another few years and things will change. Of course they'll change. But it is a bit dispiriting when you see the polls that Labour are 20% and that we fuck are over 30% now in the polls. And you're like, you can see why. It's not like this is just happening in isolation and you're like, oh, well, then why is that? Why is that? It's because Labour are going around pissing everyone off. They pissed off all my trans friends. They're never going to vote for Labour ever again. They're pissing off a lot of people who would otherwise have voted for Labour because they're just being dickheads about stuff and the comms are shit. But there you go. What else have we got in the chat? I like this. We love the chat. King Henry's elder brother was Arthur. Arthur, thank you very much, Blue Badger, for that. Did I get Steve? Did I say Stephen? I don't know where I was Stephen from. We did have a King Stephen once. Only once though. David Faulkner, thank you very much for the 78 Hong Kongian dollars. That's very kind of you. As an expat workmate of mine, worships Farage, hates foreigners, and voted Brexit to leave the EU. Just applied for Irish passports for his three brown-skinned Thai kids and wife to reside in Greece. Bloody hypocrite. What a piece of shit. What an absolute piece of shit. Fucking how dare he? How dare he take that away from me and then like fucking get it for himself and his immigrant spawn. But yeah, thanks for the super chat, mate. That doesn't cheer me up though, David. You're not cheering me up with that. Liam says orcs from Mordor are more advanced than we are. Yeah. Lemon Twist 9659 says my Catholic ex-wife and I couldn't afford a church wedding, which proved handy as it meant she could get married in a church when she met her soulmate later because our marriage wasn't valid. Oh my God, Lemon Twist, Jesus Christ. Wow. Mr. Tisk says the only reason we have after 25 years to marry is financial. Half my pension, duties, etc. on my deathbed maybe. Wedding, civil partnership. These are milestones that will never happen to me in my life, says Ivan. Probably never happened to me, mate. So, Captain Coconut with Labour. I mean, I wanted kids. I really wanted kids. But I'm not going to be able to have kids because I can't afford them. Which is really fucking shit because, I'm a great stepdad, I think. And I think I would make a really good dad. But I never will now because literally cannot afford them. Literally do not have money to have kids. Because of Farage. Because Farage derailed my fucking career. At a time when, it was practical for me to have kids. About 10 years ago was the time when Farage went on a fucking march to derail my career. As a travel presenter. Piece of shit. I fucking hate him forever. I hate him forever. I hope he, I hope terrible things happen to him. That's all I can say. I don't want to demonetize this channel forever. Fat says Labour allowing themselves to be advised by the likes of Mandelson and Lord Glasman. Says Fat. Yes, fucking idiots. Lord Glasman, is he the Blue Labour fucking person? Blue Labour. What the fuck is Blue Labour? Can we talk about this? I might talk to Phil about this. Like this is just infuriating. Like there's this thing called Blue Labour. And it's Tories and Labour. They're trying to make Labour more conservative. And I'm like, imagine if they had like a group in Labour called like the Lib Dem Labour. I suppose they've got Green Labour, but it's not for the Green Party, is it? It's not to be more like the Green Party. It's green issues. But like Blue Labour, I don't know. There's something about it that really sticks in my craw. Really sticks in my craw. Especially when people for a long time have talked about blue tie Labour MPs, blue tie Labour MPs. Are they wrong? I don't know. I don't even know if they are. Okay, so back over to the newspapers. Sorry, a little bit of a digression there, but thanks David for the super chat. Liam says, I don't want kids and I want marriage. I'm here just to learn and understand the universe before I turn back to stardust. Oh, let me make it sound quite romantic. But yeah, I'm I'm a little bit angry about that. Don't know if I ever won't be angry about it, but there you go. Cool. Okay, so the tragic roundabout. Sorry, someone's just sent a picture of Gammons painting a roundabout with a Union. St George's Cross. The tragic roundabout. I love it. Right, Suede. Oh, fuck off, newspaper printing UK. Suede, how we survived Britpop. Oh, thanks. And that is a picture of Suede. Are you a postcode snob? Says the Times. I don't fucking know. Hotel migrants' rights outweigh those of locals. Ministers agree. The need for human rights of asylum seekers by housing them in hotels outweighs safety concerns of local families. Well, NIMBYs will never be placated, I suppose. But, as far as I'm concerned, that's a false dichotomy, The concerns of people is not the same as rights of people. You do have a right to be protected against people who mean you harm. And that's why we have a police force. Well, I mean, yeah. All babies to be offered chickenpox vaccination, which is fantastic news. But the MMR, added to MMR, but take-up is at 15-year low because of liars and shitbags on the internet spreading lies about vaccines. And these are the same eugenicists who want to kill people who are not the same as them. Same eugenicists. Scratch an anti-vaxxer, find a eugenicist. Every fucking time. They want to decide who lives and dies, which babies live and which babies die. They want to decide. Putin trying to sabotage peace hopes, says PM. Not wrong. There's a picture of a man there with a woman. That's nice. And then we've got the Independent over here. This is Ukraine's capital was attacked yesterday. Kyiv, and more than 20 people were killed. I think 4 or 5 of them were children. And PM's says Putin's strike on British target sabotages peace. Foreign Office summons Russian ambassador after massive drone and missile attack, the second biggest of the war, hits British Council and EU buildings in Kyiv and kills at least 19 people, 4 of them children. Fucking scum. And why have we even got an ambassador? Why have we even got a Russian ambassador? They should be locked up. Should fucking throw them in jail. Daily Mail. I've lost 5 stone in 12 months on Manjuro. Now the price is set to soar, but I'm scared to stop. Well, that's how they They hook you in and then they reel you in, don't they? It's a bit like that episode of Black Mirror where his wife needs an upgrade to her brain in order to stay alive, and then they start putting adverts, and she starts saying adverts to her husband and to the kids in school because they keep on putting up the price for the subscription and they can't afford it. It's really grim. It's really, really grim. That's one of the grimmest Black Mirrors, and Black Mirror can be quite grim, as some of us have seen. Now, as the boss tells Reeves, stop taxing everything. All right, multi-millionaire boss of Asda says, stop making me pay tax. And there's what's his name? Wayne Rooney, and his wife. Moving swiftly on to the next paper. I know it's not Wayne Rooney. It's a joke. We've got Mylene. Mylene is classy. See what I've done? Her name is Mylene Class. Oh, it was. You changed it a few times, I think. MP speeches by AI. MPs are using robots to write speeches and letters. They'll be lucky to be back in the next election. Hasta la vista, MPs. X marks the bot. See what they've done there. Pierce Brosnan on Fame, film, and the next James Bond. We've got C-Mac there, getting a 5 out of 5 stars. Which is nice. 2 Irish stars there on the front cover of The Guardian. We've got Russian envoys summoned as UK and EU officers hit in Kyiv. 4 children among 21 people killed in the worst attacks of the conflict. We've got Pia, and it's just a picture of the carriage. That's actually the British Council. There's a British Council building there that was hit. Pia facing questions over Ghana gold mine. A member of the House of Lords asked a senior British diplomat to help a Ghanaian gold mining venture in which he held shares. Fucking scum. Fucking don't just strip him of his Pia ship. Fucking strip him of his liberty. Throw the fucker in jail. We need to start throwing these fuckers in jail for corruption. For corrupting our democracy. Can we throw at least one? Just give us one. Throw them in fucking jail, okay? Just one, please. Once in your fucking existence, Britain. Warning over low uptake of vaccines for children, which is entirely true, and another reason why we need to regulate the internet better to stop people lying every fair cent. We've got French police won't go in sea to stop boats. Union claims it's not part of their duties. Which is fine because it's not. And then you've got Daily Express there. We've got Oliver and Benedict are blooming great at Rose's premiere, 2 privately educated actors who I don't have a problem with, but they are privately educated and worth pointing out. Mirror here, Vicky, my Strictly Vision. Okay. And then we've got the royal exclusive because we need a picture of some of the boys from the family up the road. The king is set to meet Prince Harry for the first time in 19 months. Harry is in London in 2 weeks. A source said there is a determination on both sides to make this happen. Hopes grow for healing a family rift when Duke returns to London. So there you go, the grand old Duke of London, Sussex, I guess. And then we've got the thing itch all over, which is to do with the vaccine to chicken pox, which means the end of kids getting chicken pox, which is good. And then we've got Kyiv suffers, Putin rebuked for deadly raid, which was mentioned. And then we've got a picture there of them spraying water on the building that had been hit. City fears mount over Reeves's tax raid on banks to help fill 20 billion fiscal black hole. Oh, it's a fiscal black hole. Hang on a sec. Are they saying we've got a what was that, a 20 billion black hole? Is that what you're saying? Maybe we'll have to do our 22 billion black hole animation. Oh god, Vistaprint, go away. Potential increase in corporate levy, lenders preemptive warning, unease over autumn budget there. And then we've got ANZ, bankers learn of their sackings in botched email asking for laptops back. Wow. Anyway. Okay. Right. Brosnan, Brosnan. Wouldn't that be the same Nan? Yeah, I guess so. And this is Reese with a spoon, and this is Reese without a spoon. They have a place there. What? The guy who was on ER and The Facts of Life, married to that lawyer. Yeah, that fella. Didn't he play football for Manchester United? He was in Everton, wasn't he? He was an Evertonian, and then they gave him loads of money to go to Manchester. Yeah, you fucking traitorous dog. From Crocky Rooney was not Clooney Rooney. Liam says, I'd love to do YouTube videos on politics and war. However, I don't think most people would tune into a thick Lancashire accent. Well, people love Wallace and Gromit, mate, so, you should be all right. Although that was a Yorkshireman doing a Lancastrian accent, interestingly enough. I always thought he was from Yorkshire, and then they made a big thing, didn't they, in one of them, about the fact that he was from Lancashire. He wasn't from Yorkshire. Getting away on the canal boat. If you've not seen the latest Wallace and Gromit, I really recommend it. It's really good. I also recommend Weapons, the film that's out at the cinema at the moment. And I'm looking forward tomorrow night when the kids get back. We're going to be watching K-pop Demon Hunters. We might watch the sing-along version. Is there a sing-along version? I hope so. Brett Wall says, going further away from the EU makes us poorer. These people shouldn't be allowed to vote. Yes. But Brett, it's not their fault. This is going to be my last thing to say on this matter, right? There are a tiny minority of influencers. And not like me. I'm not an influencer. I got a YouTube channel. It's a small channel. We're a bit of a gang that meets up each day and discuss politics or whatever. But this is like more of a club than an influencing campaign. I don't have the kind of numbers to be an influencer. But you think of like YouTube influencers, you think of Instagram influencers, right? They are nothing. They are nothing compared with the influence of big money, of those billions that are being pumped into all kinds of shit. Now, the Democrats have finally woken up in America, and they're picking political pundits on the internet and giving them $8,000 a month to do content that is anti-Trump, anti-Republican, right? Finally. They should have done this a year ago. They should have done this fucking 5 years. They should have done this they should have done this 20 years ago in September 2005 when YouTube fucking was launched. I think it was September, wasn't it? It was sometime in 2005. I joined in September 2006. The point being, friends, is that they're finally waking up to the fact that if you want to influence people, you need to pay. You need to pay some fucking money to get the influencers to influence people. But even that is a tiny, tiny amount of influence compared with the influence of Rupert Murdoch and the Barclay brother and Rothermere and Richard Desmond, the purveyor of porn from the 1980s, the guy who had a magazine called Barely Legal, big contributor to the fucking the Tories, big friend of Robert Jenrick, managed to avoid paying 40 million pounds of tax to Tower Hamlets because of a quick deal that was done to get his property portfolio, his property, the planning permission through. They put it under a fast scheme to get it through before he had to pay this 40 million to one of the poorest suburbs of boroughs, one of the poorest boroughs in London. 40 million pounds Richard Desmond was supposed to fucking pay. And because, Jenrick said, no, mate, don't worry about that. We'll sort that out for you. You won't have to pay that money to the plebs. Motherfuckers. This is the way they speak. This is what they say. This is what they do. Time and time and time and time again. Fucking gobshites. And this was a guy who published a magazine called Barely Legal. The influence these people had. He owned the Express during the Brexit campaign in 2016. He owned the Express. Rothermere, the spawn of Rothermere, who still run the Daily Mail. If you look back at his grandfather, or his great-grandfather, wrote a screed in the 1920s against workers' rights, against the rights of workers. How dare workers have any rights whatsoever? Daily Mail, voice of the people, voice of the people. I'm seriously thinking of doing a video on my on the responses to the article about me in the Mail that was published this week, because it's kind of depressing, but also it's kind of absolutely hilarious how angry these sad little motherfuckers are. You know, they read a story about a guy traveling around the world years ago. You know, this is something they did 15 years ago. And they're mad about it. They're angry about it. How dare you? How fucking dare you? Why weren't you supporting your wife and children that you didn't have? Bless them. Anuska, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Might be the last super chat of the morning because I'm going away very soon. Hi, Graham. Inspired by you and Phil, I bought my own plushie badger. His name is Graham. Oh, thank you so much, Anushka. That is so kind. That is awesome. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat, and thank you for naming your badger after our badgers. We like badgers here. Diz says, I saw that Politics Social. Only problem is the secrecy and the NDAs. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Demon Hunters? K-pop Demon Hunters. Lemon Twist says K-pop Demon Hunters is a lot of fun. Lol. I'm really looking forward to it. I would watch it now, but the kids want to watch it again, so I'm gonna wait till they get back. Ms. Paula Thomas. My dad was inspecting a school in Liverpool when this kid told him his kid was going to ignore school and become a professional footballer. His name, Wayne Rooney. Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-bum. Not my words, Lynn. The words of Shakin' Stevens. Kirsty says, with all their money, they still only managed to squeeze Brexit 52-48, but it was enough for them to go full Tonto. Yeah, absolutely. Anusha says, you're very welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna disappear now for a few hours, and get the thumbnail for this video done. If you haven't noticed, I've done all the thumbnails for the recent videos. I've not been on top of my thumbnails recently, but I've managed to get some of them through. The one for last Sunday about flag shaggers I'm particularly fond of that. If you have a look back through the live videos on the channel. So great stuff. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this morning. I will have to now love you and leave you. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has watched the show, everyone who has contributed in some way in terms of a message, and particularly the people who've dropped a super chat. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Like I say, I'll be back at 1 o'clock with Phil Morehouse for the agenda, and I'll also be back tonight at 9:30 for the Friday night social, and it might be my last Friday night social for a couple of weeks. So please join us for that, where me and Mike Dix and others will be, putting the world to rights, and talking about all the cool stuff that has happened in the world this week, like Tay-Tay saying yay. But also talking about all the shit that's happened in the world this week and trying to put some kind of positive spin on it. Or at least, I don't know, pointing and laughing where appropriate. It's all we can do. But like I say, thank you so much for watching up to this point. Hope to see you later. And until then, I'll just say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.